Hi fellas. It's established fact in the UK for years, and it will be the same in the US, although slightly different. But working class white males, white boys, young men, are the most educationally underprivileged and oppressed in the country. It's been like this way for years. It's been well reported by Cambridge University and the Guardian and even all lefty papers. It's a fact. Hardly any wonder, really. Hardly any wonder US and British men are, you know, practically driven to suicide and gross depression because they've been made to feel, redundant. All the a lot of the jobs that men traditionally did have been, given away to China and India in manufacturing and engineering. And as we know, I know from actual experience, if you go into any of the offices in the land, whether it be especially the schools are absolutely dominated by vixens, by absolute female feminazis. And as William Shakespeare wrote in his play Macbeth, ultimate power, complete power, corrupts completely. And so it is with our female career class, or our feminazi class, that's what I call them. I've actually had experience of one of these eternal victim females who I went with for years and who did paternity fraud. She actually had babies to this scumbag drug dealers and then conned a certain person into looking after them, including our disabled kid. That's beside the point, really. I digress. Anyway, if you go into any office, and I know with some actual experience in the UK, if you go, like our local council office once, where in town I used to live, I went in there once to get a pass for our local big bridge. You had to have a windscreen pass, otherwise you got fined heavily, which it was subsequently. And anyway, I'm not joking, there were 4 female staff members, all of them, and no more than that in the office entirely, all ignoring all the customers, including me, because one of their mates had applied for a job there, and 4 members of female, all members, relatively young female members of staff, were gathered around a computer, desperately searching for this email so that she could get her mate in. No, about another very aggressive, bossy, bloody narcissistic female Nazi, probably. And this council office, I went to several times, absolutely ignored everyone else, every other customer that wanted to be seen to. And in that particular office, which is on the ground floor, it's got approximately, on an average day, it's got an upstairs and a downstairs. On an average day, there will be like 16, 17 staff, and only one older member of staff is male. All the rest of them are these Botoxed, fishy lipped, enhanced lipped career women who are all going with teenagers, basically. They're all getting on a bit, and then they all look the best, all credit to them. And most of them are going out with teenagers, young men. Well, men considerably younger than them, put it that way. Likewise, in the same town, when I went in the job centre, I was quite lucky, really, in this respect. It's entirely filled with women. I think there's like one. On the days I went there, you were lucky if there was 1 or 2 male staff, other than you might get 1 or 2 security staff doing the menial jobs. All the rest of them are women. Not to say that they weren't all, anti-male, misogynistic, aggressive male haters. There was one in particular who was a real help to me, I must admit. I won't mention her, but she was the only one that actually took the time to listen to my terrible situation I was in. And as we know, whenever there's an allegation, domestic violence, well, you never hear about all of domestic violence on men, like on me, like how I was abused for years, how I was threatened with a 10-inch knife in my own house while the kids were in school, and then craftily I took pictures of the knife and the smashed crockery and what have you, and then very craftily, the only way she could possibly delete the evidence was by taking my phone off my little boy, who's had a couple of his games on it, who's like borrowing dad's phone, as they do, and the phone mysteriously went missing overnight, so she could go into my email and delete the pictures of the knives and whatever. That's how devious they are, isn't it? Because she should be doing, it's been reported, she should have been arrested. I'd love to know if a man was proven to have pointed a giant knife at a woman and chased her out of the house. My God, your feet wouldn't touch. You'd be locked up for attempted murder for 10 years. That's where she belongs, in jail for 6 years or something. Anyway, long story short, but it's a fact in the UK, and it will be the same in the US, definitely. This is why all your men are so depressed and lonely. If there's a relationship breakdown, it's always the guy that's made homeless, isn't it? It's always the guy that's left with no help. It's always the bloke that's pushed into poverty. Never the bloody woman or her offspring to her casual bangs. That's the term they use nowadays, isn't it? For a quick bang. It's a fact. You look at the local councils, the police are one of the worst. Some of the worst experiences I've had, the local police, were these snotty, devious little women who try and wind men up on the phone and try and entrap them into saying something they shouldn't. Same with the trans and the LGBT crew, and used to entrap people and get them dragged to court. Again, it's usually males, but not always. Sometimes females in that case. One little hateful phrase, that's it. You're locked up, aren't you? Dragged to court and locked up. Lose everything, lose your job. And as we know, it's in surveys around the world, women always use character besmirchment on the men, and character assassination and deviousness, and their friends' threats to have them beaten to death or kicked to death. This was the case for me. It's the case I had to leave my hometown with 3 poor little kids stuck with this aggressive little slut and witch. You go in every job centre, every in psychiatry and medicine, of course, they're all the NHS, they're all these pro-abortion women who all made it on their own, forgetting the fact that their exes, the dads, the grandmas have all helped them along the way. And they might have started off as single parents, but my God, it's like Douglas Murray, the established author from Oxford educated author, says the days of equality are over. Now men need equality. Men are the third class citizens. Almost as if it's like a moral punishment. Oh, well, a lot of you men treated us badly for years. Yeah, some did. Some treated you very well and were abused for it. So we're going to punish you forever. You're forever going to be known as the abusers, even when you're perfectly innocent. And we're always going to be supported and known as the poor little weepy victim. Because no one turns the angel voice on, victim voice on, better than a bloody crafty young woman, is it? But so it is. I've been chased out of my hometown by threats of violence, by her knife threats, by a druggy boyfriend, threats to kick me to death, and now the escape's coming here. Or because she decided she was going to take drugs in the afternoon with with a far right member. She was going to get groomed, she was going to go down to a hotel and get gangbanged, and then, but you're not allowed to tell people about it, are you? Otherwise that might be hate speech. In fact, she sluttered herself out throughout the home counties in the northwest. Not allowed to speak about that, but unfortunately they have. As she said to me when she was daily cheating with all sorts of scumbags off Facebook and Instagram, you can't stop me. Well, you can't stop me telling the truth about you evil little dog. See you guys.